investors making when they first get started. Okay, so whether you're watching on my page or on my group, just say hey in the comments as you check in. And today I also have a special guest with me, as you will notice.
Hello.
Her name is Imani. She's my daughter, and she wanted to, just be a pretty face here with us today. So, and I also changed the location of our stream today because it is starting to get pretty chilly right now in Zimbabwe, and I'm like, I think I just want to be indoors for a bit. So today we're going to talk about mistake number 6, which it really builds up from the previous mistakes we've talked about, which if you don't recall, you can check out the streams. They're all there for you to check out. Okay, but number 6 literally all the mistakes can make or break, because look, the minute that you're building up an investment, and if you don't get any of the investments correct, then you're going to be actually putting your investment at risk. But number 6 is all about working with professionals that are not good at what they do, that are not vetted, that you have not done due diligence on, that you actually have not come well recommended. Okay, this is a very important one, and it's something that we see happening a lot. Sorry for the background noise, by the way, in case you hear that. Not working with professionals who are well vetted, well recommended. We made this mistake when we were first starting out. We wanted to make, and I referred to this sometime in one of the earlier mistakes, wanted to make a modification or build like an external property build an external what do you call it, and it's just an external room to the one that we were to our property, let me say, something in an outhouse, kind of like so when we first started, we sought a recommendation on potential contractors, and guess who we got the recommendation from our gardener and caretaker. Yes, very bad place to get a recommendation, simply because there was probably something in it for him. He probably had no good idea whether this person actually could do a good job or not. And you know what? We paid for it. Just as you wouldn't go and get a recommendation for a doctor from the newspaper vendor, and you wouldn't go get a recommendation for a good teacher from your chemist, that's the same way you would not go and get a recommendation on the right people to do your real estate work from people who have never worked with them before, who cannot speak of their quality of work, and also who cannot recommend them. Okay, it's very important when it comes to real estate. Just look for tried and tested people. Look for people that the person recommending can absolutely vouch and say, yes, I have worked with this person, they have done a good job. Do your due diligence, go find out, get references, and get as wide a range of references as you can, and go and just make sure that they are actually the people that they say they are. Okay, get references from people who there's nothing in it for them. This is why when hiring employees, do not actually ever employers, when you're hiring employees, you can go back to the previous employers who can be able to give you like a good indication of whether the person is who they say they are, and if they can deliver what they say they can deliver. Now, the stories are endless about how, of course, you know how the story ends though. Our story, we ended up just losing out. We ended up losing out big time and paying the gentleman, and he did not do the work he was supposed to do, and ending up practically just, having to go and look for someone else. And this time we went the right way in order to get someone that we needed to fix the problem that this contractor we got had created, right? So when it comes to getting highly recommended people, obviously, number 1 is the kind of what people that worked with say about them. Number 2 is, what is their due diligence? Have you checked on that? I think I'm just going to ask my daughter to stop hitting the dishes a little bit. Are they highly recommended? Number 1, whether people worked with them. Number 2, do they have the paperwork? And what is their due process? Have they been able to do this type of thing before? Number 3, what exactly are the results that they have had? Could be from testimonials or different things. So this is something that I want to recommend to you to really look out for. It's very important. Sorry, today I'm doing this indoors, so there's a little bit of action and, up and down here. Sorry. Oh my goodness. But I hope that helps you just really have a good idea of the kind of things that you can do to help protect yourself. Okay. I've heard of so many stories. I think I've told you that right now the biggest, probably, how do you call it, the biggest mistake that I've had of so far that has cost someone money is probably running into 130,000 US dollars because of a building that has gone up without the proper procedures, and it's now time when they probably just have to bring it down, and that's really, really quite something when you think about it. And this is some of the things that people don't really notice when they're getting into, they don't think about it when they're getting into an investment, but the type of partners that you're going to use is going to be very important, the type of professionals. And that's why the main thing, the thing we have to do is connect people with vetted professionals, people who do what they say they do, people who we've checked out and who have, really just proven themselves to be good. And ultimately, of course, on your side, it's important to do the due diligence. Okay, so I'm going to leave it there for today. But as always, guys, do reach out on our Facebook group. Join using jackandsuma.com/join in group and come and put your questions below. If you have a question about this, if you have a question about, okay, how can one make sure that this is indeed the right type of person, or what are some questions that one can ask, please by all means do join in the group and we can be able to answer those there. If you're watching on the page, also say hey, comment below with maybe tag a friend who you think would value knowing this information, or you think has actually suffered because of making mistakes like the ones we've talked about today. And yeah, we look forward to interacting some more. We have 4 more juicy mistakes to go. Of course, they're juicy when we're talking about them. That's why I want to talk about these mistakes so you don't have to make the same mistakes. Okay, who said that everybody has to actually go through tough times in order to benefit from them? No. The idea is that you learn from the mistakes of others so that you can avoid them. That's what this is all about, people. I hope that you feel my heart on this. We've had to pay some of the people we've met and talked to have had to pay dearly for not following the right process. And so we just want to make sure that you know the best way to go about this. Another thing about, by the way, that I wanted to mention as well, of course, about working with partners, is that you want to make sure that there's some form of agreement. This is something that it never ceases to amaze me, that when people get started working with partners, they get started without an agreement, they get started without a clear procedure, process, action plan, strategy, and a legal agreement to just bind them and show who is responsible for what, right? More so when, of course, when you're buying anything, or when there's some form of transaction that's ongoing, or that's some form of funds that are changing hands. It's very important to have that in place. Okay, you'd be surprised how many people just get into things like investments without some form of like an agreement to govern their interaction. Okay, so hope you had a great hope you learned something, and again, look forward to seeing you tomorrow on our next mistake. And do share with those you think would benefit. Bye bye. Have a great evening.